Hey everybody, this is Dead Winter Dead with another Battlefield 4 video for you. Today is episode 6 of Hold the Point. I know it's been quite some time since I've done this series. It's, I think, been since last year. But I had a couple people ask me, hey, what happened to Hold the Point? So I figured I would try to put one together. And honestly, in all, just all honesty, I didn't think people really enjoyed this series. And I know that it tends to get a little bit boring. Now, this is obviously on Lancang Dam, and the point we are going to be holding is, I believe, the Echo Point, which is, again, right on the enemy's front doorstep. Now, just as a disclaimer, this is not your stupid, oh, I was on beast mode gameplay and, blah, blah, blah. I do end up, I don't get MVP, but I get, like, second MVP, and I know that doesn't matter in BF4 because there are no longer second and third MVP ribbons like there used to be in Battlefield 3. But I believe I do get second place, but that scores don't matter. But the point is, what I'm trying to say is basically that a lot of this gameplay, especially in the Hold the Point gameplay, it's less about me going on my own and racking up a massive KD and racking up tons of points, and it's more about actually playing smart and playing my role on the battlefield. Now, I'm a support player. I'm running the new AWS. Some think it's OP, some don't think it's OP. I'm personally running it because I'm having a lot of fun running it. And if a lot of you didn't know, some of you may know, some of you who are military or former military, or maybe just are into firearms or whatnot. The AWS is actually it's a real life weapon. It wasn't put into use a whole lot, but it's actually built off of the M16 platform, and it's simply an M16 that has a massive magazine capacity. And I believe the only physical change to the real life weapon was that the magazine well was adjusted to take the dual drum magazine configuration, which explains why it fires a lot like an assault rifle. Now, I have actually never seen or fired an AWS in real life. I have fired tons and tons of real life military weapons and civilian type weapons, or weapons that are available to the civilian masses, if you want to say that. But I have actually never seen or fired an AWS. So when I came across this, I was like, I mean, is this a real thing, or do they just make this shit up? And it turns out it is a real thing. So there you go. If you did know, I told you again. If you didn't know, hey, there's a piece of trivia. But the other thing I wanted to say about this gameplay, and just a lot of my gameplay in general, you got a lot of people on YouTube who they play Battlefield or they play Call of Duty, and they're posting there, I went 100 kills and 2 deaths, beast mode round and all this stuff. And that stuff's fun to watch. You're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But you have to admit that there's a very small player base that can actually play like that. It's the upper, I don't know, 10 maybe 15% of the player base that actually plays like that on a regular basis. A lot of YouTubers cherry pick their great moments, and a lot of people think, oh, this YouTuber is really good because he's always doing well on YouTube. But you have to also think that in order to catch that footage, they probably also played 3 or 4 matches to catch that footage, and maybe some of those matches weren't as awesome as some of the others. So what I like to put out there, and what I think is needed, I mean, maybe you agree with me, maybe you disagree with me, is there's a huge portion of first-person shooter, the first-person shooter community, that they're not these great players. They're very average Joe, very average players. Some of them may be kind of casual type players that have average stats, and that's kind of what I like to cater to. Instead of putting out these impossible shots and these crazy kill streaks, just destroying the enemy team, that's not really practical if I'm trying to show you guys, hey, this is how I approach the game. The way I like to approach the game and the way I like to approach my videos are, look, I'm an average player. I'm a very average player. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Now my kill death ratio is over. It is over 1, but below 2. So I do kill more people than I do get killed. But at the same time, I'm still a very average player. And the reason I think this is important to explain is that a lot of my footage and a lot of these series, like do this, don't do this, and hold the point, and you know, the weapon reviews that I do, they apply to average gameplay. Like, look, I'm an average player. This is what can be accomplished with average gameplay skills. And I know that it may be boring, but it's actually a heck of a lot more useful than watching some guy go 100 kills and 2 deaths. Because you look at that, you're like, wow, that was really cool to watch, but I didn't learn anything. You know, this guy has incredible skills. He probably plays the game, you know, 10 hours a day. You know, he may be a professional player, so I really can't, you know, learn a lot from this person in a short amount of time. Whereas, you know, I feel that sometimes watching, you know, some of my quote-unquote average Joe gameplay videos, you know, you can be like, oh, okay, you know, that's something I can get a hang, you know, something I can get the hang of, something I can, you know, I can slow down and focus and play a little bit more methodical, and I will improve my gameplay. Things like that, like slowing down, focusing, playing methodically, watching your mini-map, knowing your enemies. I mean, like right there, like I saw that guy, I could have immediately started firing, but I knew that there were 2 pieces of rubble in my way, so I waited until I had the clear shot. That has nothing to do with Twitch skills or how fast your mouse hand moves or your control buttons move. That has to do with just thinking, like, all right, the environment is going to block some of these rounds. Maybe I should wait until I have a clear shot. And that's something that you don't have to practice. That's just something you just learn. So anyway, on this particular match of Lancang Dam, we decided to hold the echo point, and we did so very, very well. I had a great group of teammates. I was dropping ammo to people. We were destroying vehicles. We were prioritizing targets, and it worked out really, really well. Now, I had to switch squads because my squad kind of thinned out a little bit, and I wasn't really sure what was going on. But I wanted to get a squad that was a little bit more active near the front lines that I was active. Now, I know this is called Hold the Point, but at the same time, I also want to impart some basic Battlefield 101 ideas. I spawn on the Delta flag, and I'm going to take this lab. As you can see, it's a damaged lab. Somebody just left it there, but I'm gonna utilize it. Remember, don't leave any equipment on the battlefield that you can use. And I'm going to head down to Echo. But then I realized, you know what? I'm right here at Delta. I might as well push up to Delta and try to help retake Delta, because the ultimate goal of all of this isn't to just sit on one flag and camp one flag. Excuse me. It is to help help your team win. So I cut out all of that because it was ridiculously long, but we ended up taking back Delta, and I made my way back down to the Echo flag to continue this episode of Hold the Point. Right here is a good point of prioritizing targets. I see an infantryman, so I throw a grenade to kind of confuse him a little bit, but I realize that the lav is the more important target. It's the more dangerous target. I end up destroying the lav, but there's still a lot of infantry on the ground that I need to deal with. Now, sometimes you're going to get into situations where you are just not going to win. You're not going to win, but if I can take the high priority target out of the out of the gameplay, which in this case it was the lab. There's a ton of infantry on Echo, but that lab was the most dangerous target, so I opted to take him out. Even if after announcing my presence I got gunned down, I was still able to achieve my objective. As you can see, we are back at Echo, and again, this isn't all me. This is all teamwork, and this has these aren't any of my clanmates. They're not any of my friends. These are just random puppies. We weren't even communicating. We were just working very, very well together. A group of guys that knew what to do and how to get the job done. Again, don't abandon a perfectly good piece of armor on the battlefield. Somebody just abandoned this on the battlefield, so I'm going to take it, and I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it as best I can. Now, as you can see right here, my rear end is still facing the enemy deployment, so I want to try to get my front end, where the armor is thickest, facing the enemy deployment. But an attack chopper has my number, and as you'll quickly see, he starts gunning me down to almost nothing. So discretion is the better part of valor. I bail out of that vehicle, and he ends up basically just kind of wiping it out. It's still sitting there, but it is badly damaged. Well, we're coming to the end of this video. And remember, while this may not have been action-packed and, complete, I wasn't just dominating the gameplay, you can see throughout the entire video that the team is working hard. I'm constantly dropping ammo. We've got engineers that are taking out bad guys. We realize that we have to work certain angles on this base, and the whole point of the Hold the Point episode is to show you that if you focus your energies on one point, as you can see right here, I focused most of my energies, and most of the squads I was in focus their energies right on the front line, right outside the enemy's deployment. And what this does is it forces them to roll through you. They have to get past you in order to push on to Delta and Bravo and Alpha. Now you could be saying, well, they could just go around you and go to Charlie. Well, on this particular map, yes they can. But capping Charlie and leaving the rest of the land flags in our possession is not going to win them the game. They have to at least have 3 flags to start our tickets bleeding, and they have to come back. They have to start killing bad guys. And as you can see, we are way ahead, and this game is in the bag. Anyway, guys, remember that when you're on these large conquest maps, slow down and focus. Don't spread yourself too thin. Slow down and focus, and you'll be surprised how much a team could get done if you slow down, focus on one objective, maybe 2 objectives, focus on an area that contains multiple objectives, and just stick there. Keep giving it to the bad guys, and make sure that they remember your name and they're running scared next time they see you. My name's Dead Winter Dead. Thanks for watching.